Today on Shed Talk, I am joined with someone who truly embodies transformation. Sussi Mattsson is an international success coach, speaker, and founder of the From Me to You global movement. Now, her superpower is transforming pain into purpose.
Creating curiosity by asking better questions. This is Shed Talk.
Welcome to Shed Talk. How are you doing?
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm good. I'm good.
You know what? I was reading your bio. I was going through everything, and one of the questions I had to ask: is it a book? Is it a movie or whatever? The From Me to You global movement, and you were starting to talk about it earlier, but actually, I really wanted to deep dive that a little bit about. Let's talk about that.
All right. So it all started many years ago from my childhood story. Because when I was 8 years old, my father tried to sell me to strangers in a foreign country. And luckily, I found out, and I decided to run away from home to save me from boarding that plane straight to hell. And that was just 6 months after my mom died from cancer. So I was alone in this world. And moving forward in 2012, I started to realize that I was super successful in my personal life, in my professional life, but something was missing in my personal life. So I started to go back to that story and decided to write a letter to that little girl who saved my life and had the courage to run away from home. And that was the starting point of the wisdom letter writing 4-step method. And that has spread word of mouth. And we have thousands and thousands of wisdom writers across the globe sending in their letters, healing letters, and the movement kind of by default started.
So when you started this, so when you look at
Mm-hmm.
as a young girl going through this traumatic time in your life, and it had to have
Mm-hmm.
been traumatic, what are you saying to yourself at 12 years old? Okay, so here you are now. You're fully older, and all of a sudden you look at yourself at 12 years old going to be sold, or would you say it's sold or kidnapped?
I was 8 years old.
Or eight
Eight
years
years
old.
old. 8 years
Sold or
old.
kidnapped?
No, sold. Sold.
Hmm.
So, well, at that time, this is back in 1978. So we had a totally different society back then. But my first thought was, I have nobody who can save me. But I believed that I was worth saving. So I needed to do something. And so the only thing that I could come up with was to run away from home, because escaping would mean that my father couldn't find me and put me on that plane to those people who have bought me. So I think looking back and diving in all this processing going back in my childhood, I do believe that the only thing that exists in your mind is survival. You are automatically put yourself in survival mode. And later on, when I was an adult, looking back, uh, I can totally see that it takes a lot of courage and bravery to do something stupid, like being 8 years old and run away from home, like nobody's coming to save you. So, yeah,
So where are you going at 8 years old? You're running away. And I
yeah.
want to really deep dive this because you're running away. Where are you going? Like, yeah, you're running
Well,
away. You want to run away, but where do you go?
well, I didn't know my way around that city because I have only lived there for 6 months with my father. So that was difficult. And there was a window. I totally understood that there was a window of getting away before my father came home from work. Because when he came home, he will find out that I was not there. So he will start to search after me. But yeah, so it was a difficult time. And if you don't mind, I don't want to reveal everything because I hope you can read the book. But it all ended up with later on that the police got me and brought me back to the police station. And there was quite a few hours there. Was interesting and revealing my father's plan. So,
So what I'm going to do, because we're going to make sure that people are going to read this, because the in-depth storytelling from going to this part, because I'm going to fast forward this on a little bit, because what I really want to get is as a young child, and all of a sudden the police are there, you're going to do this, but there has to be an aha moment that all of a sudden life has changed, it's better. Yes, you had to do this, and then all of a sudden your deepest secrets, deepest wounds are turning into wisdom, strength, and lighting,
mhm.
because you brought this together. When was that transition that you realized that it's time for me to tell the story about what had happened and what I'm going to do with it to change other people's lives? That moment
Well,
in time, when's that?
I know exactly when that was because I was out in the desert of Scottsdale, Arizona, and doing some deep meditation with Jack Canfield. And I have been meditating on and off for like 20, 25 years or something. And my mother, who passed away when I was 8 years old, she has she had never ever appeared in those meditations. But out in the desert, she suddenly revealed herself and she said, everything is possible. And I shared that story with Mr. Canfield, and I said, well, this is my story and this is what happened. And all these years I have meditated, and now she appears. And I thought, well, this is a sign that I need to bring and put the pieces together. And so that was the starting point of you need to do something, Susie, because there is a feeling of a strong calling from the heart, and I didn't want to deny myself that calling. So
So when you get that
yeah.
calling, okay, you're
Hmm.
you're in deep meditation, you're out in the Arizona,
Yeah.
feeling it, and then and becoming one with yourself and feeling peaceful.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the
Yeah.
calling comes, and all of a sudden you're hearing your mom's voice, or
Yeah. Yeah.
what's to come. And then having the strength and the courage and the wisdom to actually say, all right, I have to follow through with this.
Hmm.
And creating that mindset within to create action. Once
Yeah.
you heard that, and
Hmm.
you're, what was the next step above that? Because creating mindset just doesn't happen on an instant. It
No.
happens where it becomes consistent with you. What part of
It,
that drives you?
well, processing my childhood story piece by piece led me to this point where I couldn't identify myself with that little girl. And when I decided to write her a letter, at least say thank you, something happened within me because all of a sudden, all my pain and they belonged to the paper. It didn't belong to me anymore. And since I have had clients in over 20 countries, and I started to get curious if they were interested in trying this method of writing a healing letter to yourself. And so I tested it out, and I studied for 8 years how writing is healing. And what exactly do you need to write, and in which order? What key factors do you need to address for the brain to heal and the heart to heal? So it's really interesting to see that thousands and thousands of people have using this method with tremendous over and beyond results. And all because of that little girl who was strong enough to run away from home.
So when you look at your readers, your speakers, and you're talking about this, and we're going to talk to our audience about this, and people that are listening in and watching this today, it's one of those letters that it's and help me if I'm not right here or wrong here.
Mhm.
It's kind of like
Mhm.
giving yourself the right to apologize to yourself and to love yourself internally, to say, okay, I want to write this letter to my younger self and saying, it was okay. You did the right thing. And speaking it out loud that you are only human, okay?
Mhm.
The mistakes you made or didn't make or anything like that, I still love you as who I am as an individual, and that it's okay. And how many people
Mhm.
out there beat themselves up and go, oh, I wish I shoulda, coulda, woulda, I would have should all over myself if I only did this different. But when it really
Mhm.
comes down to it, is actually having self-gratitude for yourself. And a lot of people forget you need to love yourself first, and the gratitude you have for yourself to grow. And listening to you with your first indication and recognizing that you need to write that letter, how powerful was that to you?
Mhm. Well, I think I had some challenges with my self image or self confidence because I didn't, even though I was super successful in my business, I didn't see myself as that. I didn't see myself as brave or bold or strong or whatever, this amazing words. So,
So how did you give yourself permission to like yourself?
well, I don't think it was a permission. It was more the first step that have shown all over again in thousands of people who are using this method. The first step is acceptance that what happened happened, that's it, period. And don't dwell, just throw the facts on the table. What happened happened. And then from that, when we can acknowledge what happened and we can identify the life lessons, what have I learned from that personally, about other people, about life in general, about society, etc., then I can transform those life lessons into piece of wisdom. And and when I'm able to do that, then it's easy to show love for myself and also for others and write that down. So um, what has been proven from all of this is that healing doesn't happen in isolation. It happens in connection. And that is what this is all about, this whole movement that is collective healing. When we rise up and when we share our stories, and then we can help other people going through the same struggle. So yeah, it's kind of a wonderful and beautiful ripple effect of the
So when you did your, so once you did the letter, okay,
mhm.
you've written it to yourself, you're in Arizona, you've made the talk, and because the first talk, now we're going to go to the next day because now you had to create action to actually, you've written the letter.
Yeah.
And when did you realize, yes, you've helped thousands of people, people have written back, but it goes to the next level that you've got to build on building blocks. So you did this to the first step, and then you went to the next step. And then when did you realize, wait, there's something else? And it's one of the things I call is you don't know you're in jail until you break out. And then it's a
Yeah.
wonderful gift that you get to see. When did you get to the next level of it? So you had your writing, the forgiveness back. That was okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're saying
Mm-hmm.
when you're the letter, then what was the next movement to do?
Well, for me personally, because it was like two two pieces of the journey, because one piece was my personal journey and my personal transformation in all this. At the same time, I was so curious and also didn't want to deny this calling that I tested out to other clients, and also not just um, the victims, but also on the other side. So I did a project with South Carolina prison with really heavy murderers to test out this method if it's working, if you have been the one that has done the harm to other people. And that was really interesting because I really wanted my method to be proven and to be bulletproof to really work on both ends. And so the next level, when you are asking that, the next level for the method was to test it out and really see that it's working. But for me personally, it was that this aha moment of I'm onto something, and what do I choose to do with it? Because a lot of people were sending in all those letters and writing emails to me. This happened and this happened. When I wrote my wisdom letter, this happened. And thank you so much. So I was thinking, well, now, what do I do now with all of this? Because it was like a snowball effect automatically. And I needed to take a step back and listen to that. And okay, this is kind of selfish to keep all this to myself and to my clients. And if we can help a lot of people with this method and to find their way home back to themselves again, and freedom from pain and suffering, then let's do this.
Hey, take a minute and smash that subscribe button, and let's get back to the episode.
So so you just made a comment. You said you pulled it in and it needed to share with everybody else because the letters came
Yeah,
in, and
yeah.
then you said you needed to share to do it. Now, are you saying that metaphorically or literally that it's sharing it to the people that I need to put a program together so all the people can see this, or which part of that, or is it just only the people that have sent you letters? Like, how are you going to get it out bigger?
No, because from the success with the South Carolina prison and the excellent results the inmates got from writing their own letters, and also from all the people who have sent in letters, people I don't know. So I was thinking, okay, how can we reach far beyond, and 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 how can I assist and help more people? So that was the starting point of creation of the app, the From Me to You app. Well, they can find the program, the wisdom letter method, um, and also a part of that is the book collection of all the letters that has been sent in will be out in a book collection, and that will also serve as a survival guide for a lot of people who can find real, genuine piece of wisdom from people who have overcome real adversity, real struggles. And so suddenly it was kind of growing to an app, to a book collection of 29 books, to my own story, my own book coming out. And And the mission of helping people on a larger scale suddenly became super clear that if I can reach 1 million people, helping 1 million people, then the ripple effect will be much larger. So that's what I'm doing right
And
now.
so as you're doing this right now and you're making this happen, okay, because you're doing speeches, okay, you're doing
Mhm,
talks, you
mhm,
got the book, you're on
mhm,
podcasts,
mhm.
you're everywhere out there. How many podcasts do you figure you've been on so far? Ballpark.
Um, 70, 80,
So
75,
70,
80, 80
70,
something.
which is huge because those are huge
Yeah.
rippling effect just to be able to
Yeah.
get out there. Because if you went back 10 years ago, how hard is it to get this message out? How hard is it when you first have an imagination and a starting point? So the question is now where it gets really interesting, as you're building all this, and here you are, 70 podcasts, you want to hit 1 million people.
Mhm.
What's the greatest challenge of all of this? And it's not social media because you're not paying for ads, you're getting it out there, and your message is beautiful. And here we are, we're talking, and you're in Switzerland, and here we are,
No,
here, or Sweden,
I'm
yeah,
currently in Sweden, otherwise
Sweden, sorry, yeah.
otherwise in Santa Monica in California. But I think the challenging part right now is to really keep your keep your focus on the right thing, because I have been deliberately, what do I stand for? What does the movement stand for? And what is the values that we are creating? What is the good that we are doing in the world? And keep that. That is kind of really important to me, because unfortunately there are people who want to come and join just because of being seen for the wrong reasons. So keeping my values, the movement values, and what do we want to accomplish at the end? What do we want to see? What change do we want to see? And sometimes I have found myself that I'm not always the one who can come up with the next step, but the people leading this movement and joining and being engaged are showing me the way, that this is what we need, and this is what the world needs, and we need hope, and we need courage, and we need this. And so sometimes I'm following and having my open heart and open ears to see what is the need, and where can I be on service. And and sometimes I have some ideas, we need to do this and this, but I think it's really important to 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 really feel that we are in this together, because otherwise we are not. I'm always saying that we are building this bridge, that if if you can see it like a vision, the bridge from the past to your present and to your future, then something needs to happen for you to be able to cross that bridge and to be able to transform yourself to to have that future. So I keep an open heart, and and I'm so excited to see where all this is going, because um,
Well, it's really interesting because as we're talking and listening to this, and I'm feeling it because what's really interesting and listening is that
mhm,
when you talked about the inmates and all of a sudden doing this and I've asked some questions, is the gift of the writing, okay, the letter
yeah,
back, and I want to go back always to the first part because you talked about the bridge
mhm,
and you're talking about your past. Your past is your past, your present, and then your future.
Mm-hmm.
So here you are, you're writing the letter, and I'm going to ask a couple questions in here. Set. One of the things is you have these letters that go back, and then people are writing the letters to themselves about forgiveness or whatever that is
Mm-hmm.
meaning to them.
Mm-hmm.
Out of all the letters that have written, what has been the
Mm-hmm.
greatest impact that you've watched on each individual that do this? Because that seems to be the starting point. Is the first is
Mm-hmm.
writing the letter,
Mm-hmm.
and that's introducing the past. Now,
Mm-hmm.
once you've written the letter to yourself to give yourself acceptance, to love, to be who you are, now
Mm-hmm.
let's take that letter from where you were and bring us
Mm-hmm.
to the present.
Yep.
Now we're in the present. Now you get to write that letter to the future self of who you are today because we get to change the future. So
Yeah.
you have that writing for the future as well, correct?
Well, in the four-step wisdom letter writing method, there is a step about the future.
Ah,
So at the same time, you are from your life lesson, when you are able to identify your life lessons and you can transform that in a piece of wisdom, then you need to incorporate those life lessons in your daily life. And some people have really a hard time because they know the life lesson, but they're not able to walk the talk. So the impact on others has been that they are taking action towards who they want to become. And and the step is really um, what I can see and hear, and from people I have interviewed and talked to, the the breakthrough is when I'm able to give piece of advice of wisdom to somebody else, then something happens. Because then it's not about you, it's about paying it forward. And a lot of people from our studies and research, a lot of people have joined this for two reasons. The main reason is to give back, because a lot of people feel that the climate that we are living today, we need to give back, and we need to bring some hope and courage and an inspiration to people that there is another way of living, and we can do that. And that is exactly what I thought when I was 8 years old. I had a dream of a better life, but I didn't know what that looked like. I just had that dream that there has to be something better than this, but I didn't know what. And that is exactly what those people going through writing the letter. Well, I don't want to stay in the pain. I don't want to stay in the suffering. I want to release all that. And when I do, then what? Then I need to create a new normal, a way of living. So that is the biggest impact, that people are actually taking action and get results. Because just writing the letter and then nothing happens, then yeah. So there's a lot of good stories.
oh, and I can totally imagine because getting this book and then reading the books and going through this would absolutely be amazing. And I want to talk a little bit about the bridge here for a quick second because it's interesting.
Yeah.
As humans and humanity and where we are today, because we can't change our past, but we can change our future. So here we are, you and I having this conversation, and we
Yeah.
would ask each other a question right now. So digging in with the past and saying to ourselves and saying, what was the one thing that you did 5 years ago that was so small that
Mm-hmm.
here you are today, 5 years ago today, and it could be that letter, could be anything that you did that changed your life significantly. And here you are
Mm-hmm.
today. And what's that one thing today that you would say to your future self right now to say, you know
Exactly.
what? I'm glad I did it today because I changed my future. So we actually
Mm-hmm.
have control of our past, our
Mm-hmm.
present, and our future
Yeah.
by pulling that together.
Yeah. Exactly. That's totally true. But I do want to add to that that sometimes when we're looking at the past, sometimes it's not what happened, is more important to look at what didn't happen. Because the worry and the pain is not just caused by what happened, but also what didn't happen. If somebody was not there to save you, the disappointment of people that you trusted, the love that you didn't receive, or whatever's going on. So it's kind of two things there, because a lot of people going back in life is kind of playing the victim card. This happened to me, but what didn't happen to you, because that is the pain, the emotional pain in your body and in your soul. So I want to add that to when we are talking about the past, that it's equally important to
That's
look at that as well.
that is amazing. All right, so another quick question while we're getting ready to wrap up and stuff.
Yeah.
What is the one question, okay? And you've been on 90, 80, 70 podcasts that you have not been asked. What's the one question you haven't been asked that you wish somebody would have asked you?
Hmm. That is a good question. Hmm. Oh my gosh. I'm not sure I can answer that. That's a good one, Kevin.
Yeah, yeah.
uh, well,
That's why I get to sit here and go, okay, that, and it's great because here we are, you're getting the message
yeah.
across, and it's so
Uh-huh.
important because the movement. But what is the one thing that you want to say that's never been asked? Yes, we talk about this, we talk about that, but what is the one thing that's bottom in your heart that you wish somebody would have asked me? Or not wished, or maybe I just didn't get asked. As a deep silence goes over the stereo. Yeah, but that'll be a question to
I
think about,
don't know what the question would be, but
or a statement.
I I do
You,
wish that people could see that holding on to pain, it's a huge cost on your health, on your mental health and your spiritual health and everything. So I think that most podcast interviews has been focused on the movement and on my story and on the book. But I do believe that there is another side that we need to address, and that is what happens if you don't address the past. Because there is a lot of negative consequences happening if you don't address it. So I think a lot of focus is on the movement and on the book and on the app, but also for people to know that, ask yourself what happens if you don't address it. If you don't want to turn your past wounds into a piece of wisdom, then where are you in 5 years or 10 years? Or so I think I want to add that. Yeah.
great answer. Great answer to that. That's great. And you had to think about it, and it was great because it
Yeah.
wasn't rehearsed. It's because we're in the
No.
moment of curiosity and asking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So here you are. What do you want out of life right now? To give back to humanity, I understand that. But at this point where you are right now, you want your million viewers, you want your million people to do, not viewers, but people to do this. What's the self-serving purpose for yourself? And it's not a bad thing. Think of this, because if you're not the voice and the spoken person to help others, we wouldn't have leaders. Where being a leader who you are, what your superpower, and we talked about transformation, pain into
Mhm.
purpose. But the greatest thing is, what do you want? And I know it's a million, but self-serving for yourself to grow people.
Well, what's my driving force is that I have been through a lot of pain, not just when I needed to run away from home, but other things that had happened in my life. I know pain. I know real challenge, real adversity. So I do believe that I can easily identify myself with people who are hurt and people who are hurting and suffering and crying and lost. And I believe that when I have been through all this, I can feel their pain. And that is my driving force, that help as many people as possible to create happy people, because happy people make different decisions. They do other choices. There are better moms and dads and so forth. So I do believe that is my mission right now, and what my heart is telling me, that I know pain firsthand and real adversity. So if I can help and create more happy people, then that is my drive. That is my driving force. Yeah.
Awesome. So how do we find you? How does people find you?
They can go to sussimattsson.com, or
SUSSIMATTSSON.com.
exactly, or they can go to From Me to You movement.com.
Awesome. Well, you know what, Suzy, thank you for being on Shed Talk with Kevin Halley. That was so wonderful and everything like that. Guys, like, share, subscribe, send in, join, see Suzy's website. You've got to see it and experience something you haven't seen before. Thank you very much for joining me on Shed Talk.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thanks.
Thank you.
Now you know. Shed Talk